There is a lot of heavy speculation going around the internet right now after we learned yesterday that Vice President JD Vance flew to Montana for a secret visit with Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Wall Street Journal, and we don't know much past that. Now, we can speculate on the contents of this meeting. There are slight reports about what could have been said, but overall, this seems to be another piece of this cover-up we've seen over the past few weeks. Let's read this. It says, JD Vance met with Rupert Murdoch hours before the Wall Street Journal released bombshell Trump Epstein story. The vice president's office did not announce this trip. It was secretive beforehand, hence the excursion was seen as a surprise and prompted local speculation. Well, not only local speculation, because now we are on this story. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed. You can catch me, Adam Mockler, on CNN tonight at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Set your alarm. Don't miss it. I love you all. And let's just start with a tweet that JD Vance sent out a few years back. This reads, JD Vance doesn't want you to share this. On the left, JD Vance slams the Wall Street Journal and says journalists should be ashamed for covering the Epstein story. But in 2021, JD Vance said that journalists should be ashamed for not covering the Epstein story. The absolute metamorphosis that these people go through is impressive. It's offensive at some point because they're just gaslighting the American people. So he said in 2021, what possible interest would the US government have in keeping Epstein's clients secret? Oh, ... And then he said, if you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. What purpose do you even serve? I'm sure there's a middle-class teenager somewhere who could use some harassing right now, but maybe try doing your job once in a while. So this clear contempt for the media is oozing out of JD Vance, even back in 2021. The funny thing is, he was responding to Jack Posobiec, who's the guy I debated on Piers Morgan. It's a very, very small world, but JD Vance is even more of a hypocrite. Let's read this one. He said on July 17th, forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter BS. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed for posting it. It's kind of funny he uses the same word ashamed here that he used back here when he said they should be ashamed for not covering the Epstein story. Which one is it, bro? He then says, where is the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Yeah, I do. I mean, it wasn't something he said, it was a voiceover script, so it sounds very, very plausible, and there are many reasons why the Wall Street Journal hasn't released the actual photo. Maybe the source said they couldn't, maybe they're holding off. There are a multitude of reasons, but I just want to point out, JD Vance is a hypocrite. JD Vance said this back in 2016 when the Access Hollywood tape came out, in which Trump bragged about groping women. He said, fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord help us. So, you can see in these posts JD Vance's fall from grace, was he ever in grace? Fall down into MAGA Trumpism. In 2016, he was saying, the Lord is watching us, please help us. Then in 2021, he embraces the conspiracies and says, the media should be ashamed. But he wasn't full Trumpy until now he's running defense for likely a pedophilia ring. Well, let's continue with this. It reads, FBI is in full panic mode, searching for Trump mentions in Epstein files confirmed by former analysis. FBI personnel were reportedly told to flag any mentions of Trump in a spreadsheet. So former FBI members, multiple of them, have reportedly confirmed that the intelligence agency frantically searched for any mentions of Donald Trump in the files on Jeffrey Epstein following a Senate Democrat's claims. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin alleged that FBI personnel had been ordered to flag any mentions of Trump in thousands of pages of the files. Legal analyst Allison Gill turned to Blue Sky to ask any former members to confirm the report. In a response, a former analyst who had been designated as one of the reviewers, as well as several other members of the Bureau, led her to confirm Durbin's whistleblower-backed statement is true. 1,000 FBI personnel had been assigned to 100,000 files totaling 300,000 pages. Individual analysts were told to flag mentions of Trump by document and page number and log them in an Excel spreadsheet. Think about this. Trump's name is littered so thoroughly throughout the files that they had to create an entire Excel spreadsheet listing off his names. Absolutely absurd. The legal analyst noted that, according to one source, typical restrictions on access to the files were not used, with the entire Information Management Division allegedly having access to the files through a shared drive. Sources also allege that the process was disorganized. Sometimes personnel were often waiting for new instructions, and those instructions changed frequently. As all of this is happening, there's no way you can't call this a cover-up, because we then learn JD Vance met with Rupert Murdoch hours before the Wall Street Journal released the story, And I want to break this down. Now, there are a few lines of thought here. Let's say there are 3 plausible theories. Number 1, JD Vance was going there to kill the story, to tell Rupert Murdoch not to post the story. We know that Donald Trump tried to get Murdoch to kill the story. So this is plausible. This is not out of the realm of possibility. Some people are speculating that JD Vance went there behind Trump's back in order to plant the story about Trump and take power. I don't find that one as convincing. We know that Trump's team knew about this trip. Trump sanctioned this trip. I don't think JD Vance is going behind Trump's back quite yet, but I get where people are going. Or number 3, it was just a coincidence. I don't know if I find that quite convincing that JD Vance just coincidentally met with Rupert Murdoch behind closed doors right before this article dropped. So those are the 3. I'll let you choose which one you think it is. Let me know in the comments. But this reads, Vice President JD Vance reportedly met with News Corp founder Rupert Murdoch just hours before the Wall Street Journal published a surprise story about the friendship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Vance traveled to Montana on Tuesday to attend the meeting of Murdoch, chief of News Corp, which publishes the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal. 2 way varying different publications in terms of quality. The New York Post, the Wall Street Journal is really solid though. Murdoch's son, Lachlan Murdoch, was also present at the meeting, along with various other Fox News executives. And listen, obviously we ideologically disagree with Rupert Murdoch on many things, but something that I've been reading over the past few weeks is that this man does not back down, especially as it pertains to his businesses or lawsuits with his businesses. He doesn't back down. He actually cares about the Wall Street Journal's integrity. Let's continue. He allegedly traveled to the family's ranch in southwest Montana near Dillon. 2 people familiar with the trip told the Associated Press. The vice president's office did not announce the trip beforehand, hence the excursion was seen as a surprise and prompted local speculation. Just hours after Vance met with the Murdochs and members of their team, the Wall Street Journal released a bombshell report indicating that President Trump had written a birthday letter for disgraced New York financier Jeffrey Epstein. Happy birthday. May every day be a wonderful secret. President Trump then took to Truth Social and threatened to sue Murdoch, then proceeded to file a $10 billion lawsuit because he's an absolute baby. So the question then becomes, what was JD Vance there for? And even if we find out that JD Vance was there for a completely innocent reason, even if I were to grant that, it is still a cover-up broadly. When Pam Bondi says the list is on her desk, then the list all of a sudden disappears. That is, by definition, a cover-up. While all of this is happening, I just want to make sure that we are not being distracted by some of the other core issues. So the Epstein case is incredibly important to talk about. That's why we talk about it so much. But just a few weeks back, the big ugly bill was passed. That will hurt the on-the-ground lives of over 15 million Americans, even more long-term. That 15 million number is on the low side. So the big ugly bill needs to have attention brought to it. What about this? Trump just radically overhauled the EPA and its mission over the first 6 months, and the EPA is essentially now toothless. The Environmental Protection Agency can't serve its sole purpose of protecting our environment, which is scary. And I find it scary that the news moves at such a fast velocity that it's almost easy to miss this. Now, here's a dilemma that we almost find ourselves in. In covering all of the stories about Epstein and all of these things, it's hard to have space for every other story. So that's why I'm going to start making longer, more thorough videos about Trump radically overhauling the EPA. What about this one? Quote, "We're caged like chickens, say Italians in alligator Alcatraz." Later on, I'm going to make a video regarding the big beautiful bill, alligator Alcatraz, and Epstein. We're going to talk about all of these things, so we're making sure we're not falling for the distractions. And I just want to say I'm eternally grateful for all of you. Thank you for everything. Remember, tonight, catch me on CNN, 9 p.m. Central, or 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys, and peace out.